Good afternoon. Mike is on, and today's topic is how long should I wait for a green card decision? Folks, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, and I'm here to answer any of your questions to help solve your immigration problem and hopefully prevent it from happening in the first place. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. You might know this, you might not have known this if you're new, of course, but we do offer free 15-minute preliminary discussion and help you solve your immigration problem, point you in the right direction. And it's free really because that's just really part of our mission. But keep that in mind that we don't offer for everyone, unfortunately, because we have limited time and there's a lot of y'all that have questions. So, and the thing is that there's other ways that we could try to help you, or we have helped others, and that's through offering you a free guide. Now, let me share with you what it looks like on a website. And then, of course, I'm definitely answer your questions. So, if you go here if you're on YouTube, if you're not on YouTube or Facebook, you can't see the screen share. But if you like to jump on there, it's greencardguys.tv. And you can see here on the screen share that we do have several guides, or you go straight to our website, greencardguys.com. Scroll down, and we have several different guides, whether it's family-based pathway, investor visa, employment-based. If whether you're the employee or employer, human resources, there's information there that could probably save you a lot of time, because sometimes y'all have consultations, or we have the consultation and we ask people, is that all? Like, don't you have other questions? So that's why we have these guides, because sometimes in the moment you forget what your question is. So, and it's all good. That's why we have these guides. And I get it. Sometimes you might not be comfortable speaking to a lawyer, not ready yet. So again, that's what this is for. It contains answers to common questions, along with an estimated step by step. Okay, to kind of give you an idea. Now, of course, with pandemic, it has exacerbated the waiting time for a decision. All right, so welcome to the show, where let's get down to it and talk about it. What's going on, Dwayne Dixon? Nice to see you. Alrighty, so if you are waiting, of course, if your question is not related to the topic of the day, it's okay. Go ahead and drop a comment, and we'll see if I'll try my best to answer it towards the end of the show. We try to go on for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now, I'm going to share my screen, okay? And you're going to be frustrated. And I don't mean to cause any frustration, but because the government is already, the government's already caused frustration for all of us. For us, our team, we like to see the case all the way through, A through Z, first step to the last step. And the last step is for the decision, right? And for your ability to get legal status, to move on with your life. And of course, unfortunately, USCIS and the State Department, your consulate embassy abroad, is slowing things down. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. And so how it works is that if you're ever wondering about how to check processing times, you go to uscs.gov, click on Tools and Resources, and then on the in the middle area, there's a check case status, or check processing times. I mean, so what I've done here, okay, you can see it on the YouTube. I'll share my screen. Click on the form type, and it's 485 in this situation for residency. So 485 is for folks who are in the United States. They're living in USA right now, and typically there's a lot of other requirements, but assuming you already know that you're eligible and you already filed for it. So it's this form category. I clicked on. You can't see the drop-down menu in the shared screen, but that's several different categories. I clicked on family-based. And, I clicked on Baltimore, Maryland. You can select the field office that's you live nearest to. So I'm in Texas, but Baltimore, Maryland is in the news, okay? Because if I scroll down, it's 49 months. Processing times If you have a 485 application filed and you live near Baltimore, you definitely should consider filing a lawsuit. Okay, that's without a doubt. Now, before the pandemic, on average, processing times for 485 is about 12 months. And it still is for the most part. I mean, across the country, I'd say for the most part. So, this thing says 80% of cases are completed in 49 months. Who knows how true that is? There could be fluke where 20% of cases are either, take less time than 49 months or more than 49 months. I think what it means is 20% of the other cases are more than 49 months. So imagine that. So it's pretty ridiculous. Um, Scrolling down here, you can enter your receipt date. That's on your 797C notice. That would have been the first the first notice you received. And here's the deal, folks. Even though the processing time says 49 months, that does not mean you have to actually wait 49 months and then sue the government. Okay, that's not how it works. The law for mandamus is based on the what is unreasonable. So clearly 49 months is unreasonable. I would say, in my opinion, that I of course argue if I need to, is that to the government, is the US attorney, is that even 18 months, 16, 18 months after filing is ridiculous. I'm sorry, not ridiculous. Well, it is ridiculous, but unreasonable. The legal, definition, the case law that we talk about. All right. Um, all right. So hopefully that helps in that sense. That kind of insight I want to share because I know a lot of you, of course, check the processing times, and you're likely discouraged. Hopefully not. Don't give up. But you don't have to wait all that time. Now, I know that my team made a graph, and I'm going to share it with our green card guys Facebook group. So if you didn't know, we do have a Facebook group. It's down below. You can see it on Facebook. I'm sorry, on Facebook and YouTube, tinglawclub.com, and that'll take you to the Facebook group. And so that's where we're sharing. We're about to share more and more information about these kind of things. So you don't have to check yourself. But to be honest, it might cause you more frustration seeing these processing times. And you all deserve status. Don't wait on it. Okay. Don't let your case get stuck. And I'm not saying that every case is like this. Unfortunately, a lot more cases are stuck lately, the past 2 years at least, right? Because of pandemic. This has always been a problem even before the pandemic, but obviously pandemic made it worse because of the backlog, increased backlog. But either way, we don't give them what we call like benefit of the doubt. The law allows you to sue the government based on unreasonable delays. Okay, so other cases that people have filed that are taking even longer. Well, actually, about that same amount of time, 49 months in Baltimore. For asylum cases, usually we wait around like 4 years because we understand that there's like hundreds of thousands of asylum applications on file. So it just depends on the scenario. Okay, every case application has different timing in that sense. Here was another one I want to look up for you. It might not be as surprising, but let me look up Baltimore. At least a couple months ago when we had this data. I mean Brooklyn. Okay. Ooh, yeah, that's not looking too good. Actually, it's worse. It's worse than what we had before. Right now, it currently shows 40.5 months in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, New Yorkers on live, let me know in the comments. Where y'all watching from, by the way? I'm always interested to understand how far the social media pushes out our video. And so, by the way, if you find this content helpful in general, how I share it, go straight to the punch, please smash the hearts and give me some likes. We greatly appreciate it. It helps our channel grow. And of course, ultimately, that more people get useful information out of this. I'm doing these lives every day, but Monday through Friday, but I'm not sure how long I can do it. So I'm going to try to go as long as I can in that sense. There's another one I want to look up for y'all. Okay, Atlanta, Georgia. So by the way, if you are If you have filed an application 485 and you're wondering what yours is and you're live right now, definitely drop in the comments, okay? Let me know. Okay, so Georgia's 32.5. So we check, I have a chart here that's from 2 months ago, and before it was 27.5. So it increased by 5 more months. And let's see here. El Paso 2 months ago was 10 months. Now it's 12 and a half. So it just keeps increasing. In some places that we would not have expected to increase or have a long wait time, they do, unfortunately. So let me go to Minnesota, Minneapolis, and St. Paul. Ooh, 2 months ago was 26 months. Now it's 37 months. It's just getting worse. So I'm just gonna stop there. I'm gonna stop showing you unless you ask me for a certain city, then I'm happy to look it up for you. But here's the deal, folks. A common question we receive is, will the government retaliate against me because I'm filing a lawsuit? No, that's not how it works in America. You have due process rights. Now, your case could be denied, or your case could receive a notice of intent to deny or a request for evidence, but it's not as a consequence of filing a lawsuit, right? It's simply that the government is just very inefficient and very slow. So just because your case could be not as, it's not because your case is good or bad, okay? That's not the reason why your case is delayed. It's just, again, the government, you're, as you can see, it's at 80% of cases within are being processed within a certain time. So it's not just yours. Let's see here. JM, I saw your question, but I'm going to finish up on this topic real quick. Let's see here. So the green card, okay? This is what I was just sharing with you, is the processing times in general. That doesn't necessarily mean that um, they don't have a separate timeline. Like, okay, if one area said 34 months, there's nothing else that says like, okay, at the 30-month mark is when you're going to have the actual interview. Okay, so this thing is saying on the processing times, it's intended to mean that at the time that you receive the decision, essentially. Okay, at least that's what I understand, because it's process. Process means to include a decision. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean the interview. So that's something to keep in mind. So if it said 34 months, it doesn't mean that you have to wait 34 months for the interview. Okay, but let's say you had the interview in less than 12 months, or even at the 15-month mark, and you're, in our experience, fortunately, knock on wood, a very high percentage, I probably bet on myself to say 99.9%, that all of our clients have received their decision in about a month or less, okay, after a 485 application interview. Now, of course, I recall at least one that was a straggler case because the client didn't want to provide the medical exam. And then, of course, because of that, or they didn't want to provide an updated one when I advised to do that. And um, then the government claimed that their file got stuck with someone else's name and same A number, same country. I'm like, that's a bunch of bull. So they were just giving excuses. And that was before the pandemic. Can you believe that? Anyways, so it's not, so what I'm trying to say is, just because you see what I shared on the screen on YouTube and Facebook, 34 months, 37 months, 49 months, that can include the decision part. So even if you had the interview in less than 12 months, that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get the decision sooner. Hopefully you do. I really, really hope you do. So you don't have to talk with us, We're just helping the folks that are really, really stuck. We're happy to help anyone. Okay. But my goal here on these channels, folks, on greencardguys.tv, is to help you guide you to the next step. Okay. To show you, to explain to you that most of y'all, some of y'all, but not most of y'all, have an opportunity to get unstuck, to get your case moving. Okay. Because many of y'all, especially y'all that are abroad, think that there's no option, but there is. Unfortunately, it does cost a little more money, Okay, you do need a lawyer for these mandamus lawsuits, at least to my knowledge. Um, and of course, that'll make it a lot easier for you, less stress. Um, but today we were talking about green card interviews, right? Green card decision. This has also happened for other case types. One that I can share with you right now is about naturalization to become a U.S. citizen, so the N400. So if I can find it on the policy manual, I just looked this up the other day with my team to share with them that the policy manual for N400 actually shows that you can sue them right after 120 days after the interview if they fail to give you the decision. It actually says you can sue them. So again, I don't want you to think that you have to give up just because the government's holding on. Do not let the government bully you. Okay? In America, this is why everyone wants to come to America. At least one reason, right? Is that we have due process rights. You have freedom. Okay, in that sense. Let's see here. So let me try to find that PDF or link here for you, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. We don't like to we like to try our best to share the source if possible, so we're not just like guessing around or anything like that. Okay, I found the link. Let me share it with y'all. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm adding to the YouTube channel and Facebook. Okay, Chapter 4 of the USCIS Policy Manual, Results of the Naturalization Exam. Okay, it says the first line in here. Okay, folks, let me increase it if I can. Okay, there we go. Okay, it says 120 days. USCIS has 120 days from the date of initial naturalization interview to issue a decision. More or less, summarizing for you, if they have not give you the decision, it says sue me. That's what they're saying. If the decision is not issued within 120 days of interview, an applicant may request judicial review of his or her application in district court, aka sue me. So do it. If you're in a situation as well and waiting, the government's telling you don't wait. Don't let the government bully you. I know it's strange for the U.S. government to say that, but it's there. Okay, we use this information in our legal complaint, to your benefit. So we have several clients in this situation as well where they waited over a year and they didn't have to. Y'all come up with all reasons in your own head of why the government's doing this or doing that. Don't guess. There's no point. You're just wasting time and you're causing yourself more stress. Who cares what other people think, what the government thinks? Now look, it's different if it was like you should not have applied in the first place because you weren't eligible, then that's a different situation. But if on paper you're eligible, no, or the situation like if you file a marriage case and you only provided evidence of marriage certificate and not like a joint bank account, then yeah, that's a different story. You'll probably get a notice of intent to deny or RFE, and that's still okay, right? Because if you didn't file a lawsuit, your case would have been stuck. Now, we actually just had a client for an hour yesterday. They trusted us to hire yesterday. He had been waiting. God bless the situation that it worked out. He had waited, I think they had waited 3 years for a petition, and it was a immediate relative petition. So usually those take less 8 months to 12 months these days. It shouldn't take 3 years. But he hired us. Literally within an hour, he got the email notification, and it was approved. I don't know. Maybe it was like magical just because he hired us. No, I'm just kidding. That's just that's not the reason why he got the approval notice. It was just luck of the draw. So of course, in that situation, we just refunded him. Okay, we're not the type of law firm that would say like, oh yeah, we're gonna hold on to money. But literally, it was like literally an hour ago. So it's kind of neat to see that happen for him to. So, for my opinion, that's a success. Even though we didn't really, we didn't start the case, we onboarded him within the minute. But I'm very happy for their family. But the thing is, there's so many different stages of the case that could get stuck. And so that's why we're here to share with you that there are options. All right, now I see a question here. Let me get to that. JM, you said you have CNA. So this is off topic, and that's okay. We're at the 20-minute mark, so that's cool. All right, so you're a CNA caregiver with a pending asylum case since 2019. Okay, yeah, that's quite a while ago. You got a social security number and a work permit. Okay, great. How can you get a green card? So generally, it is possible. A lot of lawyers say it's not possible. I think maybe they say it's not possible because they're also thinking that what is the way that you can stay here? The applicant can stay here in the U.S. So for the most part, most of y'all won't be able to stay here to be able to get the resident status. Okay, it'll be consular processing. Some of you might be able to adjust status in the U.S., but most likely not. There's two main legal issues to be concerned about. The first one is unlawful presence. That is different than maintaining status. Having asylum application on file is not any kind of legal status. Having DACA is not legal status. You have the lawful ability to work, you have the work permit, but it's not legal status in the eyes of the Immigration and Nationality Act. So it can be a little bit confusing. I understand that. That's why I think just today we had a consultation about this question. So we're going to put out more information that makes it a little bit more clear. We're going to have like a diagram that can show this. But the benefit, of course, of one of the benefits of filing for asylum is that if you file it timely, okay, now in general, you need to file it timely within 1 year of your legal entry, right? So that you can actually have the benefit of asylum. If you file the application more than 1 year after your entry, then it's not considered asylum, but it's the same application. It will be called withholding or removal. And so, but anyway, a good amount of people that we chat with, they have entered America with a visa. Let's say it's a visitor visa or J1 or student visa. And then at some point before your visa expired, you filed for asylum application. Now, in that sense, that's makes your situation stronger to be able to get a resident status. But can you still get it while in America? Most likely not, because the other issue, number two, is the failure to maintain status. You didn't. Now, that doesn't mean it's your fault, right? Of course, if there was ability to maintain your legal status through and through, then you would most likely, right? But we all know, like student for school, it's expensive, international tuition. But that's not the government trying to hate on you or anything like that. It's just what the law is. It is what it is. So it is possible, JM, if you want to chat with us separately, please let us know. Isabel, what's going on, Isabel? Isabel, then I'll go to Dwayne. Sorry about that. Does each form get back a 797C notice? Or certain ones didn't get back one for 864? Great question. Actually, I don't think I've ever had this question before. It's not every single form. It's for every form that typically has a fee. So I-130, 485, 765 for the work permit, and the 131 for the advanced parole. So if you filed all those together, then you should receive each receipt notice 797C for each one of those, but not the 864 because traditionally you don't pay a money for that one to Department of Homeland Security. And if you are eligible for adjustment status, then of course at least as of now, the 131 and 765 applications don't have a separate fee. Now, for other folks like TPS or DACA, those have separate fees. So because it generally has some kind of fee associated, those get a receipt notice. So thank goodness, because you can track it in for the status online, which if you are a regular guest of our show, greencardguys.tv, I've talked about this. USCIS does not have a good tracking system online, okay? USCIS.gov. It does give some updates, but it's not. The update doesn't necessarily mean that something is going to happen like tomorrow or next week. It doesn't have that kind of triggering in that sense. So I wish it was, but it doesn't. All right. Let's see. Dwayne on YouTube. How's it going, sir? Any news on green card interview? And you're in Jamaica. Okay, so I think you mean for consular processing. Yeah, it's taking forever. It's pretty ridiculous. So when did you file your case, Dwayne? You remember when you're what stage you're at currently? You're welcome, Isabel. I see you said thank you so much for clarification. You only received three. You're welcome. Hey, in that case, please smash the heart button if you enjoy the content in general, or if I answer your question. Please hit the like and heart. And by any chance, if you do receive value from our channel's information here, you could go to, if you have just a minute or so, go to reviewtinglaw.com. We greatly appreciate it because, I sometimes I lose my voice sharing information. And I love this stuff. Love trying to help. I consider like know your rights in the sense like I did in person before the pandemic. So let's see here. Okay, Dwayne, I see you said 2019. Let me see if I can look up the. I used to do this often. Visa statistics. Okay. Let me go to that page. June 2021. All right. Let me see if I can pull up in time. And this is for marriage, I'm assuming. Yeah, okay. I believe you mentioned that before, Dwayne. Let me look up by the government doesn't update it that perfectly. They're usually at least 1 or 2 months behind in terms of updating their charts. Oh, it's in Jamaica, but it's Kingston. Okay, let me show y'all. All right, so this is the Department of State, travel.state.gov. Of course, it's a public website. You can always go to it yourself. But we put together these graphs for y'all. We don't have like a team where we can put for every single consulate embassy, but we put for the, I guess you could say, the more common ones that people ask us about. But as you can see here, Kingston CR1 is 4. For IR1 is 89. So okay, yes, for marriage. So it doesn't have a good tracking system. That'd be interesting. I feel like I need to create a separate website for y'all or survey for y'all to input. Then we can aggregate all this data to help each other ideas because the government system here doesn't tell you. This doesn't tell us like, oh, 4 of these or a whole batch of these 89 IR1 category when that was originally filed. So that's the difficult part. Dwayne, what so what this chart means, and I'm on YouTube and Facebook sharing my screen here. Sorry for y'all on Instagram, but if you're on Instagram and you want to see this, go jump to greencardguys.tv and you can see this. But let's see here. So this one is to show you, this chart is really for showing you how many visas were issued in each specific category for that particular month. So this one is for November 2022. So yeah, we're now in first week of January. So they're a little bit late by 1 month. But again, this doesn't necessarily show you how many people or when was this case originally filed. So Dwayne, I'm assuming that when you're talking about June 2020, June 2019, I'm sorry, June 19th, 2021, Dwayne, that yours is that was a date for the petition. I hope I hope your petition's approved by now, since it's crazy. It's January 6th, 2023. So what is that, year and a half for you, Dwayne? So hopefully it's approved soon. Uh, don't be like my our client for that was a client for an hour and wait 3 years. But that's the thing. Don't blame yourself because, or any of y'all that are watching, don't blame yourself if you've been waiting a long time because you may not have known that there is an option, and that last option is called mandamus federal action. You could Google it any way possible, but the most common phrase is mandamus lawsuit. Okay, yes, it was approved. Great. So hopefully, Dwayne, that you are DQ'd already. That's documentarily qualified, meaning you've already provided all the evidence possible to to the National Visa Center. So, by the way, again, if you're just joining for the first time, we do offer free 15 minutes preliminary discussion. Try to point you in the right direction, and maybe even solve your problem, prevent it from happening in the first place. Because there's a crap ton of problems out there just for immigration itself, unfortunately. Um, so today's Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather if you have great weather. Hopefully, no one was stuck. 1 or 2 weeks ago in the blizzard. Pretty ridiculous. So let's see here, and I'll see you on Monday. I'll see you on Monday. We're gonna consider going live at maybe 12:30 in the future. We'll see how it goes, but you'll see it if you're on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook. You'll see the notification if you follow us. And until next time, folks.